Alright everyone, it's Pdaaaawg here for Dose of the DAWG episode 8, I believe. Yes, I never really remember what Dose of the DAWG episode it is. But anyway, this episode is actually pretty important, and it's a video response episode. This might be my second one. I remember the first one was a response to Chris, 3KB. This one is a response to DSP and his channel DSP Street Fighter, and he was talking about his thoughts about Capcom rebalancing games. And to be honest with you, oh no, sorry, it's just the Dog episode 7 even. Whoopsies. Anyway, what happened was DSP was talking about Capcom rebalancing games such as Marvel and Street Fighter and games like that there. And he talked about a bit of the past, like Street Fighter 2. So I just want to give my thoughts about it. It's probably gonna be quite a long video because I've got quite a lot to talk about in this. And pretty surprisingly, I haven't really talked about it a lot, so I might as well get right down into it now. Anyway, so I only started playing this game when Super Street Fighter 4 came out in September, which a lot of you do remember. I refer to it quite a lot whenever I talk about that. Whenever I talk about Street Fighter, I always refer to how I've only been playing it for a while. It's almost been years, but it's been 11 months, so it's almost been a year. And what happened was, I was playing that game. I thought it was a really good game, and what happened was, the game really did think it was balanced. By that time, it was the only game I did play. So to be completely honest with you, I didn't really know anything about the previous games. It wasn't until I done some research later on that I realized that some stuff was broken. For example, I was watching DSP's videos as well. Like I watched all the Street Fighter videos, and I watched all about him being Sagat's overpowered, this, that, and the other. And I thought to myself, well, that's a bit weird. Like none of that happens in Super. And I realized, oh wait a second, they did patch it. So I'm just going. That was just from my perspective. But here's just from a general perspective. Now I've done all the research and stuff that I've been doing the past year. What happened is, Vanilla Street Fighter 4 was released in 2009, and a lot of people were like, oh good, we got another Street Fighter game. They haven't released one another in 8 years, since 2001 or something. So what happened was, they're all really pumped, they're all excited for it, but then they realized, oh wait a second, all these characters are, characters are good, but you got characters like, you got characters like Sagat and Ryu and stuff that everyone regards as overpowered. With Sagat especially, Sagat is really overpowered. I actually remember I bought Vanilla a couple of days ago, well, it'll be a couple of weeks ago now, for like £2 down at my local game area. And what happened was I bought it and I tried it out and oh my gosh, I played Sagat for a little bit online and oh, he's too good. Seriously, he was too good. And then you had characters like, Vega and Pdaaaawg who really weren't that good in Vanilla. So then Capcom listened and they released Super Street Fighter 4, which they rebalanced stuff. They introduced 10 new characters. It was kind of funny because everyone thought Dudley was going to be overpowered because of the damage that he'd done and stuff, but then he turned out to be like mid-tier whenever the game came out. But then yeah, they did like buff characters like Pdaaaawg and stuff, and Vega a little bit. And then yes, they did nerf characters like Sagat and Ryu. And to be honest with you, I do think that is the perfect version of Street Fighter. However, I wouldn't say that it was, the best, unless they, done stuff like they buff characters like Makoto and Hakan. That's probably about it. If they would have done that, and that would have been a really good game. Because I mean, you got characters like Zangief and stuff that are good. Because once he gets the 8 screen hand, he's ready. Ryu, yeah, he did get some nerfs, but he was still pretty powerful, as you can tell. Because if you had 10,000 BP with Ryu and Super, you weren't even in the top 1,000. That's pretty hilarious. And then you had characters like, Ken was good, Chun-Li was good, Abel was good. All the characters were good in their own different way. It was a bit like Turbo, where pretty much every character is really good, Super Turbo. And then they released Arcade Edition. Now the funny thing was, Arcade Edition was released for arcades only, because Super Street Fighter 4 was a home console release and wasn't released in arcades as opposed to Vanilla was. And then, funny enough, everyone's complaining, oh, how dare they bring Arcade Edition to consoles and, make it really bad. But truth be told, remember, we were almost demanding for it to come out to consoles. We were all like, oh, come on, we have to let Arcade Edition come to consoles. How dare you release a game on arcades that's not on home consoles? How dare you? So then Capcom did listen, and they did make the Arcade Edition to consoles as a DLC for 1,200 points. And quite frankly, yes, it was kind of broken in some areas. Yun is a bit too powerful. Pdaaaawg is a bit too powerful. But the thing that really bothered me, yeah, you got the overpowered characters that, well, kind of overpowered. I wouldn't say they're overpowered, they don't, like, break the game or anything. Like, I can still beat them and stuff. Even though I do play Pdaaaawg, which is a bit ironic. But the problem was that they gave some of those weirdest nerfs I've ever seen in a fighting game. Like, for example, oh my gosh, like, why would you change like Ryu at all? Ryu was perfect in Super. Ryu was pretty good in Vanilla. Even I didn't think it was that good in Vanilla. That's probably because the damage output in Vanilla was ridiculous. If you don't believe me, speak to Taz about that. But he's pretty open about that. But yeah, like Ryu was like a perfect character in Super. Like there's nothing wrong with him, and they decided to nerf him. Like Megas Tatsu, not why would you do that to his Tatsu? Why would you Megas Tatsu like just spiral down? Oh, to give him an ambiguous cross up? No, because they already had an ambiguous cross up with the original Tatsu. I don't know why I had to change it. Like, of course, like Ryu, okay, yeah, he has the uppercut, but people were thinking, oh, herp derp, uppercut's too powerful. Here, let's Megas Tatsu like stupid so that he can't even get out of the corner. And that really frustrated me. The fact that his crouching forward doesn't have as much priority, even though this is main poke, which is kind of stupid. Because, yeah, Checkmate, shoutouts to Checkmate for this one, but he said he really misses Ryu's crouching forward properties and stuff. And the fact that his crouching forward is such a good poke in Super, and they really did nerf it a bit in AE. True, you got all those really bizarre, buffs that you can combo, like, uppercut from a standing roundhouse or something. And then, like, you got stuff like far standing medium punches, but who cares about those ones? Like, you just got rid of like some of the best parts of Ryu as well. Like you got rid of like one of his good wake up escape options, and then you got rid of one of his greatest pokes. It was so stupid, like why they would do that. And then you look at character like Balrog as well. Balrog, yes, he did have a few like issues. For example, like well, he didn't really have that many issues. But the thing is that you got rid of like all of his headbutt priority as well. I don't play Balrog, but I'm just speaking on behalf of probably Carl and Kyle or Razclown and Sandman. Because those two both main Balrog in a way, and it really did frustrate them, and as well it frustrated me whenever I was playing Ryu. And yeah, it really was quite annoying. Like other weird nerfs was Rose's Ultra 2 not being a good like escape option, and like what else was there? There was another really bizarre one that they done that was really stupid. I don't know, but they did do some. I think they were deliberate, to be honest, because I mean, if you think about it, these are all like escape options against rushdown characters. And let's just think about the rushdown characters in this. We got Yun, we got Yang. Well, Yang's more of a bit of a poking character, but yeah, he does rushdown pretty well. You got Fei Long, you got people like Cammy and stuff. Now, considering the fact they buffed pretty much every single rushdown character in this game, and then they nerfed pretty much all defense characters, like Guile from Sonic Boom does like builds like no meter. That's really stupid. Like all the defensive characters were like severely nerfed. Every other character was pretty much nerfed. Like Chun-Li is useless, Abel's useless. Characters are out there like you can't even play them anymore in AE, to be honest. And then they buffed all those characters, and I think they deliberately done that just to make AE more of a rushdown game, which is why I did pick up Fei Long, because I had Ryu, who was like my standard Shoto. I had Zangief, which is my grappler, and he plays well against the twins, which is quite a relief. And then you got Fei Long, who is the rushdown character. Now the problem is that, yeah, Capcom did this deliberately just to make rushdown characters like the definitive part of it. But why would you like change like the only way? Like I think if you did keep some like escape options like Ryu's escape Tatsu and like EX reversal moves have more priority than what they did in, having back to what they were in Super, having Rose's Ultra 2 be back to 0 frame startup, have stuff like that there, and then the game would have been a lot more balanced, I think. But since they removed all that just to make Yun and Fei Long overpowering, or well, not really overpowered, but to make rushdown characters really good in that game, it did kind of ruin it a bit. So it's almost like pick a rushdown character or you're going to have a really hard time. So yeah, it did get pretty annoying after a while. And then Ono did say, oh, if you have an unbalanced game, it makes the game more competitive. And I was like, no. Like, if you have a more balanced game, you'll have a lot more different characters. Like, for example, whenever you've seen, like, whenever you've seen, like, things in Super, then you would see, like, quite a lot of different, like, games, like, characters being put up at the top. Like, you had, like, okay, mainly you had, like, Ryu and stuff, and, like, Ryu and, like, Ken and Balrog, and, those characters up there. But those, like, definitive characters, and, I can't really blame those people for, having those characters. Those characters are solid. They're pretty good. Then in AE, they nerfed them a little bit. I'm not going to say they completely nerfed them, because I still play Ryu to a good level at some areas. But, I mean, like, they did change some stuff that really did annoy me whenever they released that game. And we're almost 10 minutes in, flip me. So, yeah, I think the reason why they done that, and then, like, just to make, rushdown characters better. And then they said, oh, but we're going to release version 2012, so another iteration of Street Fighter 4, which is kind of stupid. And hopefully they're gonna, do stuff like, nerf Yan and Pdaaaawg and stuff, and maybe buff characters like Abel and Chun-Li, buff well, give Ryu's crouching forward back, please. And then, nerf some characters that really do need nerfed. All the really good characters that are in that game. True, Zangief's a bit strong, but he isn't, at that level. At least you have to actually know how to play Zangief, know how to play him well. You just mash 360, doesn't really matter. So, I do think one of the main problems was, actually, Taz really does believe in this. So I've got a cold, by the way, if you can't tell. But Taz likes to say that people, like Capcom, listens to the wrong people whenever they make games. For example, you could easily see that somebody could complain to Capcom that Ryu is being used way too much. Because let's be honest, whenever I was in ranked, then there was a lot of Ryu players I fought, and whenever I was a B rank with 6,000 points of Ryu, I wasn't even like the top 5,000 with Ryu. It was pretty hilarious. Whereas in this, whenever I'm like B rank of Ryu, I've got 5,500 at the moment. I'm like almost in like the top 200. Which is a bit different. But, and they'd say stuff like, oh, Abel's too powerful. Chun-Li, yeah, I can see Chun-Li being a big one. Chun-Li's too powerful, and then nerf all the characters, and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll nerf them. But that could be a different opinion. But it seems like a pretty logical explanation of the fact that they could be, like, taking it up by their fans. Like, when it's not like the good old days, like DSP, iterated that, like, in, like, the Street Fighter 2 series, they did add, different stuff to every single iteration. In Super, or in Street Fighter 4, all they're doing is like changing gameplay tweaks and stuff. Okay, yes, we did get like the replay channel, and AE we did get an improved replay channel, which to be honest with you, I don't really see. All I do is replay following and stuff. But that was mainly just little gimmicky stuff to like make you buy the game. So whenever version 2012 comes out, I wonder what they're gonna do. I really wish they would make it like the perfect Street Fighter, nerf characters that were severely buffed. Just turn it into Super, to be honest. Like, make Yan as powerful as, like, Pdaaaawg was in Super, and, make it like that there. And, maybe, like, buff a few characters, like, buff Evil. Well, don't really buff Evil Ryu a little bit, but buff him a teeny bit in terms of health, because his health is a bit painful. Like, buff people, give, like, characters, like, their Super iterations, like Ryu and, Barog. And then, like, Chun-Li and Abel. Probably keep Makoto and Hakan and T-Hawk the way they are in Arcade Edition. Make them like that there. I don't really know, because to be honest with you, I'm not. Oh yeah, also make Honda, like, kind of in between Super and Arcade Edition, because in Super he was pretty damaging, and in Arcade Edition he isn't damaging enough. So let's try and, like, mix in the two damages there and see if we can come up with a better one. And hopefully, it could be a really balanced game, you never know. But knowing Capcom, they're probably going to make something wrong, which is exactly what they're doing in Marvel, but I'll get to that in a wee second. But, they're going to make something wrong, as they always do, just to make the fans complain. For example, how do you know that, they might completely buff Shotos in version 2012? They might make, like, Ryu and Ken, like, the best characters in the whole game. And then, you'll be complaining and stuff and saying, oh, Shotos are too powerful. Then they'll make another version, which you'll have to pay for. So, to be honest with you, they're really not giving it enough time to, like, sink in. Because I think that if vanilla, like, if there are no iterations of other Street Fighter games released and we're still playing vanilla, then to be honest, I think there would be a lot of people, like, being able to know how to fight against Sagat, but they didn't give them enough time, like, as DSP said. So, my 2 cents of this is that if as long as it's free, I just think Capcom should just make a brilliant, like, a perfect game. And, like, just, at least for Super Street Fighter 4, just end it, to be honest with you. Like we've already had, like, 3 iterations of Street Fighter 4. We don't need, like, a 5th one, to be honest. It's just, if you're gonna, like, make version 2012, like, the perfect version, make it, like, the most balanced version, which I really doubt they're gonna do, but please do. And if you do that, then we'll all be satisfied and we'll play that game until, like, the next big fire comes out, which will be Street Fighter Cross Tekken, which I have a strong feeling they're gonna make different iterations of that as well. They're gonna make somebody like flipping Yoshimitsu, like, way too overpowering, which will probably stop me from playing him. But no, I'm still gonna play Yoshimitsu in Street Fighter Cross Tekken. I don't care what any of you say. Now let's move on to a game. In fact, no, and just to wrap it up here, yeah, I can see two sides of it. People saying, oh, it's always hype when you see a new game coming out. Which, to be honest with you, yeah, was getting all hype whenever Arcade Edition was coming out. We arranged to have, like, like, tournament, like, we were gonna, like, relaunch tournaments and stuff and endlesses and the King of Hate. which eventually it didn't turn out, and then eventually I just left the site because really it was turned into like a ruins. But let's not get to that. Now anyway, speaking of Marvel, I only played Marvel for about 3 months at the most, I think. Because really I played and I was like, like, I didn't really want to get into it, like, you know, tournament style, to be honest. Not like I was with Street Fighter. But I was kind of playing it and I was like, oh, this really isn't that good. It was pretty fun for, like, in a casual setting, but really nobody in my area had that game, so I couldn't really play it like that. Online was complete trash. As I remember I was playing Taz in a few matches and really we couldn't, like, do anything, even though we're in the same, like, country. So what happened was so I was like playing that game. I was like, oh, it's not really that good. So I treated it in. I didn't actually think it would last that long in tournaments. I was like, oh wow, that game really is looking quite good in tournaments. And even though yeah, it was one big combo video, so I did want to try and get back into it. But then I was like, oh, then the Capcom was like, oh, hold your horses. We're going to release another version of the game. So I was kind of like, oh, here we go again. They're going to start making all these iterations. And I think DSP really hit it like bang in the head whenever he said that they are gonna do stuff like, you know, nerf Phoenix and stuff, you know, like they did nerf Sentinel in a patch, which I think they should have just done the whole time. But what happened was, yeah, like they're gonna nerf Sentinel, they're gonna like nerf Magneto and Wolverine and, you know, Storm and stuff. And you know, that's all well and good, and you know, hopefully they're gonna decrease damage, because from the gameplay footage I've seen in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, it is if they increase the damage, it'll just be ridiculous, and I think that it will really lose all public interest if they do that. But then they do really stupid stuff, like they nerf people like Hagar and Tron and stuff. And really I see no point, like why would you like nerf characters that aren't even being used? Exactly with Street Fighter, like why would you nerf someone like Abel, which isn't really being used that much, except for like Juicebox as like the main Abel player, and that's it. So I don't know, it's just really weird how Capcom like does this. Obviously they do it just for the money though, which is kind of annoying. It's like, oh, here, let me just take all your money, so that like you're paying $100, but you're paying like £80 over here for like £80 sterling for Marvel. But luckily for me, I did trade it in, so I got like a tenner. So I only paid like a tenner for Marvel 3 for the beta. I paid a tenner for it. But for other people, you know, like they're probably still playing again. They're probably getting all competitive about it. I know they have to sit and relearn a whole new game, which is kind of annoying for, you know, competitive players. But I'm thinking of a casual player here. Casual player in Marvel and pretty competitive player in Street Fighter. But yeah, like Capcom, obviously they're gonna make more money. You know, I've got a feeling they're gonna release another Marvel. They're gonna yeah. They did do that on purpose. They did like, you know, nerf characters like Tron and Hagar, and if they did increase damage, that's ridiculous. But you know, they did do that just so they could have an excuse to release another version. They're like, oh, hey, but it doesn't matter here. Let's just, you know, let's buff all these characters again, but let's make another thing that's completely like weird and game changing. Also, another character that's really weird is Trish, because she got nerfed as well. I haven't seen a single Trish on flipping, you know, competitive gameplay. But you know, I think they did kind of nerf Hagar and Tron, because you know, all the fans said their assists are too good. But even then, they nerfed like their general gameplay, which is stupid. Like Hagar only has like that, like he doesn't really have that many combos, but you know, like, oh, he's got level 3 grab, but like, who cares about that? So does Tron as well. And then Tron has always like extended combos. It take a long time to learn. I remember whenever I had that game, I was trying to learn like Tron combos and from the Clicky D video, and I was like, oh flip, like I can't do any of this. So yeah, it takes a long time to like learn stuff. People need to understand that it takes a while to like learn a character like Chun-Li and Abel. You know, it takes a long time for you to learn characters like that. You know. And that's just my 2 cents on it, to be honest. I don't really have anything else to say. I can't really speak in terms of the past because I wasn't back there. But you know, if you want to check out more information about this, head over to DSP's video. This is going to be a video response to that, so you'll probably find it there. Alright guys, that's probably about it for me. Interesting Dose of the DAWG episode though, so we're almost about to hit 20 minutes here. So Dose of the DAWG, episode 8, 7, I don't know. Episode something. I think it's episode 8. No, episode 7 even. Oh, I don't even care. Right, yes, episode 7, alright. Throws the Dog, episode 7. Capcom rebalancing and my thoughts. So, I'll see you guys later for probably some random stuff. Check out Elemental Dojo, by the way. Was starting to get really underway now, because we're starting to get footage as all. Like some of our representatives are going to like tournaments and stuff, so there's going to be a whole pile of footage there. We got about 114 subscribers, I believe. So anyway guys, Pdaaaawg signing off here for Capcom Rebalancing Dose of the DAWG, and I will see you guys later. Peace. Well, yeah, just bye. See ya.